don't have a particularly useful way of going, oh shit, that was all false propaganda to begin with. Do you
Right.
have a way of, like, are there certain outlets that you trust? How do you build trust? Maybe that's the easiest way. Trust around information.
I would say that the idea that there are any authorities that I just trust enough that I can cognitively offload the process of coming to belief to them is not a real thing currently. And that if you think about legitimate authority, whatever's seen as legitimate authority, for a while it was the Christian church or government, or then the academies and the great Ivy League institutions. And they're supposed to be the bastions of what is true. Well, that's fucking powerful. So everyone who wants power has maximum incentive to try to capture and co-opt legitimate authority towards their purposes. And so you start funding the research institutes to research certain things and not others. And even if, so I can easily manipulate statistics to say most anything I want. I can cherry pick data out of very large data sets to say everything's getting better, everything's getting worse, or whatever it is that I want to say. We can, of course, do false methodology and lie, but we can even have information that is totally true, that is misrepresentative and will guide people in the wrong direction. Because let's say I have a phase space of information that's all this information, but I'm intentionally only doing research on this area over here and publishing a bunch of research. So the preponderance of data points to such and such because there was an uneven distribution of what got funded based on those dollars came from somewhere and they're seeking return on investment. And so certain things are going to be more useful. A patentable pharma drug is going to get more research dollars than a plant-based nutrient that no one can patent to ever be able to pay the money back. So the preponderance of data will say nutrients don't work as well as pharma drugs do. But the preponderance of data is gibberish in that particular case. And then also, what metrics was it looking at? Well, it didn't cause any negative side effects because we looked for these 4 side effects. Well, the body's pretty fucking complicated. You can cause lots of side effects that are outside of those few you measured for. So as soon as you understand the process of legitimate authority having a maximum incentive to get co-opted, then you start understanding, okay, this idea that I can offload the cognitive complexity of the world to an authority where I can continue to have a childlike consciousness and find the parent who will tell me how the world is and what to do stops being a desirable goal. And the desire to take the responsibility to make sense, to increasingly make sense of the world myself. Now, that doesn't become solipsistic where I think I'm not going to pay attention to people who've spent a lot of time studying. But let's say I'm looking at COVID and I'm looking at the topic of viral origin. Did it come from a wet market, naturally, zoonotically? Did it come from gain of function research accidentally or intentional bio warfare? Or let's say I'm looking at conferred immunity. Will getting it confer immunity, so we'll reach herd immunity? Will getting it confer immunity for some people but not others, or for a short period of time where it will not actually create enduring herd immunity? Or will it create ADE, antibody-dependent enhancements, where then one of the normal coronaviruses will kill you next time you get it? Nobody knows. I can tell you from looking at the research, the answer to that is not known. And so all the stuff on Sweden's about to reach herd immunity or this or like is all just people overextending what could actually be known. So one of the key things is being able to identify what things do we have high confidence on based on what process, and what things do we not have high confidence in, just acknowledging that. So that's a question I'm always asking. What are the knowns and what are the things that we know we don't know? Or at least and the knowns are never 100% certain, right? There's some Bayesian confidence margin less than 100%, but I can say high confidence based on this process, but I'm still open to new data. And then here's the area of unknown. So I want no certainty at all here, because any certainty at all, even a hunch, can bias me in terms of what I pay attention to. So I just want to say, I don't know.
Do you try to eliminate even your hunches? Like, do you?
I try to run all the hunches.
You try to what?
I try to run all of them.
I see.
So if I say there's a virologist who thinks, or an immunologist who thinks one thing, we will get immunity, and someone else thinks we won't, and based on different ways that they're weighting data. So do I think that experts who spent 30 years studying a field and are smart know things I don't that I should listen to, that is different than like what a TV personality who doesn't know anything about it thinks? Yes. So I like to find experts who disagree, but that seem earnest, as opposed to seem like they are doing some piece of propaganda. And then I like to see the dialectic where I think possibly
You're gonna have to tell people what a dialectic is. How does it different? How is it different from a debate?
So, yeah, this is an important topic. I saw you and Eric Weinstein discussing this a bit. So, dialectic is the idea that you can have a couple different perspectives that each have some truth value in them, but maybe neither of which are the whole truth. And that rather than a debate where the idea is one of them is true, one isn't, and there's going to be some kind of rhetorical warfare, and then someone will be the winner at the end, there's a co-exploration coming from different perspectives to see, can we actually find a higher order truth together?